In the Sketch Launcher Primer, I describe how to use Sketch Launcher and some of the strategies you can use for getting rid of points or excess lines. Here in the Twitter feed is one of 5, and I walk you through kind of the process I went through in order to arrive at this image right here. Now I'm going to give you a starter file, this file right here, the Under the Width Tool starter, and from the Under the Width Tool quest. And you've got an original layer here. Now if you want to preserve this original layer so you can work on it, it's good to make a copy. But before I do that, I want to make one change. These two are identical. That's a line and that's a line. But I want to select the group of lines on the right-hand side and go up to Object, Expand. And the Expand command is going to say, hey, what do you want to expand? And I'm just going to click OK because it's got fill and stroke there. I don't have any fill. But notice now, if I click on that, it's a fill. It's not a line anymore. It is a long, narrow rectangle, for lack of a better word. Okay, so these two, this is a stroke and this is a fill, right? How will they behave differently? That's the question. So I want to try that out. I'm going to drag that original layer down, make a copy of it, and then under the Width Tool. Now the Width Tool, where's my glasses? Can't see, I'm sitting so close to this new screen. If you click and hold on the Width Tool, there's a whole bunch of other things there. I'm going to come over and then come onto this bar and let go. And that gives me a copy. All these tools are still sitting right here, but it gives me a copy that I can now access rather easily. Now the Width Tool itself, if I click and drag on a line, I can change the width of this tool. Get it? Width of the line. So I'm going to Command Z a couple times because sometimes the Width Tool is extremely valuable for making expressive lines. Used subtly, it can be a real powerful tool. But the rest of these, I've seen some of you guys use them. You pick these tools and then you click and hold and this, and then the line goes crazy or the shape goes crazy and you get this big mass of points. And, yawn. Seriously? So I used the Twirl Tool. See this right here? And see it's got this little symbol that says, hey, you take a shape and you hold down and it makes this weird little shape. Well, I don't like to use it that way. If you double click on it, you pull up the Twirl Tool options. So you double click on any of these tools except, does the Width Tool work? Cancel that. I think it's the Warp Tool. No, it's got settings. Is it the Width Tool? That's it. The Width Tool doesn't have any settings, but everything else does. So I'm going to double click on the Twirl Tool options, and I've taken this up to as large as it can get. 1,000 pixels. If I try to go up, it's not going to go anywhere. By 1,000 pixels is the biggest. And then I've lowered the intensity down to 5 and left these settings as you see. And with Show Brush Size On, because this is important, we want to be able to see how big our brush is. So I'm going to come out here, and I made these in GeoBuilder with a radius of 500. The default is 300, which would give us something that was 600 pixels tall. This, as you see, is exactly 1,000 pixels. So I can put my brush in just the right spot, not click and hold, click and release really quickly. Now I do the same thing over here to the lines and see how this is different. This into position, click, and you can see we have some thicknesses here. We got a little double line here, so pretty cool. And I want to know which one of these two layers I just affected. I'm hoping it's the top one. It's not, it's the bottom one. Whoops, let's turn that off. So, or did I make them both go? Geez, I did. So I'm going to undo. Oh, I'm playing with visibility. There we go. So now here's a lesson for you. Lock the bottom layer so you preserve the originals and you work on the copy. And then we'll just do this one more time. Click. Ah, why am I seeing that? Because I forgot to turn the eyeball off. But this is one of those things I discovered. This can be really cool. But I'm going to turn that off for right now just so we can focus on what we were talking about. And by changing the settings on the Width tool, after you double click, you get different effects. Okay, so I would encourage you to experiment with this, and one of the experiments might be, hey, what happens if this is smaller than my 1000 pixel brush? How does it behave differently, if at all? And I'll tell you right now, some of these tools work really cool. The bloat and the pucker, these two with a shape like this kind of work cool. And combinations of visibility and then combinations, I'm going to copy that out and unlock this, select that, copy it, hide that again, hide that layer as well, come up to this guy and hit Command F. And that pastes that right in place. And then hold on the Command key to get the select tool. I can deselect and then come out here to see what happens on this new layer if I click again. And you get something really expressive. And again, the difference between lines and shapes is how these lines are affected by the Twirl tool and how these shapes are affected by the Twirl tool. You get different results. And the potential, the creative possibilities for making symbols, shapes, brushes, patterns, all the rest of this is unlimited. And I just showed you one setting. You can experiment, and it doesn't just work with GeoBuilder, as you might suspect. So start thinking, hey, what can I do? And some things aren't going to lead anywhere good, and you'll learn from your failures. And some things will be, whoa, look at this, Scotchgo, look what I did. And I can't wait to see what you did, and let's help one another get more creative. All right, there you go. There is Under the Width tool. A lot to experiment here. Some work better than others. The warp tool isn't going to work at all with a click. You have to click and drag with the warp tool. So it's different than the rest of its siblings right here. Have fun, enjoy, experiment, and share your results with me.